So I'm going to give you the number one, hands down, reason why companies with teams struggle to hire, and it has nothing to do with applicants and candidates coming in. It has all to do with you and your process and the fact that you don't even know what you want. So in this video, I am going to teach you exactly how you take one person on the team that is looking for one thing in that candidate, in that position they have to fill, and the other person in the team that might be looking for something else. And it could be something so small, like something along the lines of, can this person live within 10 minutes of us, or they live too far, they live in an hour? Is this position remote? Or is this position in person? Is this position, does it require 5 years of experience? Does it require 10 years of experience? It's always the smallest little thing that gets the internal team to always look in two different ways. When you have two or more people who are looking in different directions, you're not moving together. And that's what I'm going to solve for you in this video. So if you are a company that is hiring, that is struggling to fill a position, I'm going to promise you this video is going to make your life so easy, because it has nothing to do with the position and its difficulty. It has to do with you knowing what you want. That is step one. It's like going shopping. If you don't know what you want to buy, you won't end up with, exactly what you're looking for. So for example, if I wanted to go buy a car, I know that I want a full-size SUV that sits 8 people because I'm a family of 6. Period. But if we're like, oh, we don't know what we want, do we get a sedan? Do we get an SUV? Do we get whatever? So we have to actually get clarity. A car with 4 wheels is not enough information to be able to decide on what we actually want, because a car with 4 wheels is actually every single car. But if we hone it down to a sedan with 4 wheels, still not enough, because we need to know how much power do we need. We need to know how much space. Do we want luxury? Do we want all these different features, right? It's the same thing like saying, I need an accountant. That's equivalent to saying I need a car with 4 wheels. Then saying I need an accountant with 5 years of experience. That's saying I need an SUV. But there's still so much more. We don't know the color. We don't know the size. We don't know the number of seats. We don't know if we're in high winter or areas, a seasonal area, so we need all-wheel drive, or do we live in a place where rear-wheel drive is more than enough? We need to know all these details, all these key features. And that is not your job description, because that's where everyone decides that. Everyone in their mind decides, okay, they need to have their driver's license, they have to have experience with this, experience with that, experience with this, but culturally, they also have a wish list as well. What kind of person do they have to be? And with that, the problem, again, back to the root cause of all of it, is that internally, you guys don't know what you want. And you think it's high level, and you're just saying, we want a person with this many years of experience, but that is not enough. So I'm going to give you the steps. There's 3 easy steps that you're going to do, and we're going to solve this problem right now. Step 1, what I want you to do. When you are about to hire, decide as a company, we need to hire for X position. Before you start anything, you ask the following questions. Who in the company will influence the decision on who we hire? Who in the company will influence the decision of who we hire? So you are bringing in applicants. Someone's going to look at the resumes and they're going to decide yes or no. Someone is going to interview and make a pre-screening. They're going to decide yes or no. Then they're going to have an initial interview. They're going to decide yes or no. Someone is going to do a final interview or multiple final interviews, yes or no. Someone is going to be sitting in with the interviewer and deciding yes or no. So you need to be clear, because the last thing you want is you're going to go work hard to recruit, and then you get some guy that says, nope, that's not going to be the right fit. And you guys are in 2 totally different directions. So you need to know every single person that will have an influence on a candidate being hired for this position. You need to make the list. When you have the list, that step 1 is done. Step 2 is you need to have a meeting. This is called your recruitment launch meeting. You do not start recruiting unless you have this meeting with everybody present. If someone's missing, I'm sorry, we got to do it again. Okay, you have to have the meeting, because that meeting is going to go over, we have one mission for that meeting. And that meeting is, by the end of it, the team, whether it's me, myself, having the meeting with myself to have crystal clear clarity, or me with one other person, or 2 other people, or 4 other people, whatever it may be, in that meeting, the purpose of it is to have exact clarity on who is our ideal candidate profile. Identical, exact. So, and all of us have to know exactly what we're looking for. That's how we take people from going in different directions to all moving in one direction. So what will happen is, once we actually start interviewing and one person on the team says, no, we can't hire this person because we require them to have this software experience, everyone else could say, no, we said in this meeting that that software is not critical. It's a nice to have. So we can't disqualify this candidate for that reason. You see how that comes together? So With that said, you're now at step 2. You have this meeting. Step 3 is what you're doing in the meeting, which is designing your ideal candidate profile. Now, I've got a link that I'm going to give you. It's complimentary for free. I've got 17 questions that I ask to give you the exact ideal customer candidate profile. So it's like, let's go back to the car analogy. Right now, the last thing I want you to do is for you guys to get into a meeting and say, we're just looking for an SUV that's 4-wheel drive, that's 5 years old, that seats 5 people. That is not enough. I need to know, is it leather? Is it cloth? I need to know how much horsepower is going to come with it. I also need to know how rusty it is. I also need to know that, what rust level do we want? Age, how old, etc. There's details. So when we relate that metaphor to a candidate, there's 17 questions that I ask that are broken down in the following way. First is the business context, which is what's the purpose of this position? Why are we even recruiting in the first place? And what problems we're going to be solving for the company? We need to all understand it, because if we don't have an understanding as to this position, as to what's its importance, then it's hard for us to find the solution to the problem. If we understand the problem, which is this position, it's here, but we don't have someone in it, so these problems are caused, you now all of a sudden shift each candidate. You're looking for them to be a potential solution for the problem. So very important to have that. The next phase is we start talking about the measurements. So how are we measuring candidates in the first 90 days? What is success for us in the first 90 days and what is success for us in the next 12 months? Companies, when they hire people, last thing you want to do is you let go of somebody, but you didn't even establish what's the reason when we hire somebody, how are we measuring them? When you understand the measurement ahead of time, you now in your interview process, you'll be able to relay that in your interviews and see if people can handle those measurements. For example, if one of our measurements is to make 100 sales calls a day, and that's a measurement, well, guess what? I'm not going to ask, hey, can you make 100 sales calls a day when they first start? I'm going to ask that in the interview process. Okay. Next thing outside of measurements is now personality traits. We're going to ask questions like what previous personalities failed in this environment and what personality types thrive in this environment. Because the number one reason why people don't make it past 90 days has nothing to do with experience. It has all to do with personality and cultural fit and cultural clash. If they culturally fit, everything's going to be fine. If they clash, they tend to just quit, leave, or get fired. So now for you need to have clarity on that. So we look at personality traits for that position. Some positions require energy, go, sales driven. That's one personality, but they lack attention to detail. You want your lawyers or your accountants to have attention to detail and to be slow, composed, back end. Those are personality traits, and we need to understand those as a team together. Understand what personalities we're looking for. And the last phase is essentially the history. What do we want to see in someone's experience so that way we all are looking for the same thing? That template, the ideal candidate profile, you're going to be able to access that. There's going to be a link somewhere here that takes you to it wherever you're seeing this, and you'll have it. It is hands down the best 17 questions you could ever ask anybody yourselves as a team. So this meeting, in summary, we're summarizing. We've asked the question of who is everybody that will influence the decision on candidates who will get hired and who won't. Once you have the list, you have the meeting hosted with everybody there. And in that meeting, you use the ideal candidate template to be able to develop the ideal candidate where all of us have signed off agreeing, yes, this is what we're looking for. This is your chance for debate to say, no, we should look for this versus this. And together you will come up with exactly what we're looking for. And now you'll be ready to go kick off a recruitment strategy based around that ideal candidate profile and move together as a unit. That alone right there, you've already beaten 99% of companies and you'll be ahead of the curve. So with that said, my name is Christian Saab. I'm the owner of CPG Recruitment. I've specialized in headhunting and recruiting across the country, both Canada and the United States of America, all the way through North America. So with that said, I've filled over 600 positions with 87% of people making it past 2 years simply because I have clarity on what I'm looking for. My retention rate is better than anybody in the country. No one can beat it. Very straight to the point. We fix the problem, we fill the position, and it's done. That simple. And we help our customers day in and day out in every single industry to find the people that they need to find and to protect them from a bad hire. So with that said, always follow, like, subscribe, and feel free to book a call with me one-on-one. I'd be happy to meet you for free. Let's do it.
Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you are an entrepreneur that is serious about building your team with the right people, I'm very glad that we met. At the end of the day, bringing in the wrong people could really hurt your business and could potentially bankrupt your business, and bringing the right people in could potentially make you a multimillionaire, if not a billionaire. Having a strong team is so critical to the success of every single company, and I'm proud to say at CPG Recruitment and myself, I want to work with you. We are experts at really designing the ideal candidates, recruitment strategy, interview process specifically for your business to make sure that your business is building teams with the right people. I want you to get a hold of us by going to cpgincorporated.com or even simply just commenting on any one of our videos. I've got team members watching every single piece of content that we release that if you need the help, all you got to do is comment below or reach out directly to us at cpgincorporated.com, where we have our phone numbers there and our calendars to just book a call, and we're here to serve you, to help you build your team with the right people.